do have some Cowboys news to pass along. We already did talk about Dalvin Cook in the opening segment. Brian thinks a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit more juice than what Zeke has.
Just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Just a little bit similar guy, just a little bit quicker.
Another, good player to have, but I think most people are skeptical that he has the ability to turn back the clock.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple of good games, would not be too much to ask for from Dalvin Cook, as you'll probably try to get this done by committee throughout the season. But, Brian, we have a practice squad that's been announced here for your Dallas Cowboys. What are the notable names and takeaways?
Yeah, the one, you lost Justin Rogers, the defensive tackle from Auburn, who was a 7th-round pick, who I thought had a pretty good camp for you. And when you start to talk about the power, the range, those things, I mean, he looked better than your first-round pick, Mozzie Smith, the way he played. The days I watched him in camp, the games I studied, I felt like that Justin Rogers is a guy that I was kind of hoping he would come back and maybe they'd find a way, but you added a lot of pieces there. So he's with the Bengals. But with the Cowboys, you got Josh Ball, Josh Butler, Jalen Cropper, Malik Davis, Denzel Daxon, Princeton Fant, Keeman Hall, Kelvin Harmon, Darius Harris. And I want to talk about Darius Harris real quick. He's the linebacker you got that was with Kansas City that played special teams. This could be a guy that I feel like that they might do those. You have the opportunity to bring him up for games to play. Veteran guy, 3 games, 3 opportunities. But if you want to activate him for the 4th, you got to make a roster move. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on Darius Harris, the linebacker. They really, really like him. Okay. Imani Johnson, the safety. Carl Lawson, we've talked about before. Brock Mogensen, the linebacker. Dakota Shipley, the center guard combo. And then Nick Vigil, the linebacker, is another one. I think him and Harris were the 2 guys that they might do some special team stuff with, and gives them a little bit of depth. If you have some issues with your linebacker crew, those are 2 pretty decent guys to have on those practice squad to kind of help you get through that.
Well, thank you, sir, for that practice squad report. We got this thing surrounded Cowboys fans, and we're excited about what this team could become in the future, and to see how close they are to last year's version, maybe even a little bit better than last year's version if they get breaks in the right department. Okay, ESPN is doing preseason NFL predictions, and they take Micah Parsons to lead the NFL in sacks in 2024. Would you bet that, Chief? Would you pick, out of all the pass rushers in the NFL, Micah Parsons to lead the NFL?
Well, I mean, he hasn't proven that he can get over that. I mean, if you're leading the league in sacks, you're getting to at least the 15 number, and that would be something he hasn't been able to do yet. Do you feel like in this new defense, he's even more unleashed and being set up for success even more so than he was with Dan Quinn? I would say yes. I think Mike Zimmer, objective number 1 for him as it pertains to Micah Parsons, is move him around and make him to where you can't account for him. And certainly on the times that they do, then other guys will find success, and that'll be great for the team defense. But I do think Micah Parsons he's going to be in store for his most sacks. So I think it's definitely on the table.
Can we follow up on that? I mean, obviously Dan Quinn was known for his aggression and getting to the quarterbacks. And, I wonder if Micah is going to be easier to focus on for defenses with lack of quality pass rushers. But the point that you bring up is interesting, Brian. Where are you with this? Is Mike Zimmer going to be better for Micah's sack totals than Dan Quinn?
I think he is going to help him. The thing that I worry about is we've seen Micah Parsons get to a point in time in the season and then he gets wore out.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he doesn't have the ability. And I was kind of looking at the end of the season schedule, because they're going to really have to lean on him. If they, we saw in this summer that the pass rush wasn't great, but it's going to turn into, it's going to have to be Micah. It's going to have to be Tank. They might have to bring some blitzes and stuff.
They'll be bringing a heck of a lot of blitzes. But
I just kind of wonder, is there going to be a stretch where Micah just gets wore out? You mentioned those games, Detroit, San Francisco, those types of teams that will focus on him. It's going to be all about, I would say, probably not going to lead the league, because I do worry about his availability. He will play, but I wonder how beat up he's going to be the final month of the season where he's going to need to push that thing through.
Yeah, the endurance to make it to the end of the season or the durability, I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like he's had like 5 sacks through 3 games a couple of times, and then he ends up with under 15. Last year it was T.J. Watt with 19, Trey Hendrickson and Josh Allen with 17.5. Khalil Mack, who's kind of a forgotten man with the Chargers, had 17.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter at 16.5. Myles Garrett was tied with Micah Parsons at 14.
I'm willing to bet that he's going to lead the league in podcast collaborations this year. How about that one?
Yes, and viral moments.
If you look
talking about teammates,
exactly. If you look at what goes on for him, say for
most hours broadcasted this season.
He's running that thing right now, isn't he? The content guy.
Yeah,
he's the president or the commissioner of that thing.
He's the manager. Yeah, managing editor or whatever.
I look at November 24th on. The Commanders are on the schedule. The Giants are on the schedule 4 days later. The Bengals, we'll see with that. But they got the Panthers, the Buccaneers, Eagles, and then Commanders again. And then, we'll kind of see how that plays out.
Those are good teams to feast on.
Yeah, if he's going to have the ability. Now, he played against the Giants last year, and this is where we got in a little bit of trouble. Backup offensive tackle held him off the stat sheet last year. Remember at that game, here the one that was played in Arlington, and you're thinking like, damn, you've got to take advantage of a guy that's not the normal starter, and he was held off the stat sheet. He can't have those types of games against inferior competition if he's going to lead the league.
I do think he's got as good a chance as he's had in his career to do it, though, with this scheme, and like he's really entering his prime. You know what I mean? Like he was just scratching the surface these last 2 years. No, but he does get wore down, so that's going to be a huge thing. But he's also alleged that he's put a bunch of focus into preventing that, and we'll see.
Hopefully so.
We'll see if the proof's there.
When you talk about having a good defense or a great defense being top 5, what we feel like we need this Cowboys team to do if it's going to be better than last year, what is that number? It's 50 sacks last year to get into the top 5 as a team. You figure let's give Micah 15, let's give Tank like 6. Maybe Osa has 4. You're at 25. You get, 3 or 4 from Nealon?
Nealon has, if Nealon could come with 4 or 5, that would be huge.
Can you get another 15 or 20 sacks to have 45 or 50?
Well, the one thing that you're going to get from Mike Zimmer is you're going to get slot blitzes, corner blitzes. You might get some secondary guys. We've seen Bell blitz during practice. He's willing to walk a guy up in there and time it to make that happen. So if he could find a way to get another 4 or 5 sacks from one of his safeties or his corner or his slot corner, then, I think that's where you're going to get your numbers.